There are moments in space that don't feel real. A sky without blue, a horizon without air, and a light that behaves in ways we've never seen on Earth. For the first time in over half a century, humans are witnessing it again. Then slowly, the light begins to return. And more than half a century ago, humans saw something just as extraordinary for the very first time. As they orbited the moon, a new world appeared above the horizon. Not a distant planet, but home. A fragile blue Earth rising in the darkness of space.
And God willing, and we shall return.
And now, we return, following a new generation of explorers as they witness that same horizon once again. But this time, with new eyes. The moon below them, and Earth rising once more in the distance. Before the moment arrives, there is preparation. Every detail carefully set for what lies ahead. Even capturing a single image requires control. Light from inside must be blocked, so the darkness beyond can be seen clearly. And then, a pause. One astronaut looking out toward something still just out of view. The first glimpse of the moon coming into view. Framed by the window, a world both distant and suddenly close. And just beyond it, a small, fading crescent. Earth, drifting toward the horizon. Inside the spacecraft, the crew moves with purpose, taking turns, capturing what only a few have ever seen. Not every view of the moon appears bright or clearly defined. Captured early in the Lunar Flyby, this image, taken with a smaller aperture, reveals a darker, more subdued surface. The familiar contrasts begin to fade, and the moon becomes something quieter, almost hidden against the blackness of space. This is closer to how it truly appears to the human eye in deep space, not enhanced, but real. For nearly 7 hours, the crew takes turns at the Orion windows. Here, Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen carefully captures images of the lunar surface, early in the flyby. Each photograph, paired with observations, sent back to scientists on Earth. A continuous effort to document a world as it passes silently beneath them. And in that dim light, the moon reveals something else. A surface shaped not by stillness, but by billions of years of impact and change. Its features barely visible, yet carrying the history of an entire world. As Orion approaches the moon, the surface begins to resolve in sharp detail. Dark plains of ancient lava stretching across the near side mark regions where molten rock once flooded the surface billions of years ago. And there, a bright, unmistakable point. Aristarchus crater, standing out against the darker terrain, one of the youngest and most reflective features on the moon. Just over half of the moon fills the frame, its near side revealing a landscape shaped by both fire and impact. At the center, the Oriental Basin, a massive circular structure surrounded by rings of mountains formed during a violent collision. Nearby, Grimaldi appears as a dark, smooth crater, while Aristarchus shines as a bright point within a field of ancient lava. Captured just before the observation period begins, the same basin comes into clearer focus. Spanning nearly 600 miles, the Oriental Basin marks the boundary between the moon's near and far sides. To its left, Bergius crater radiates outward, its ejecta stretching across hundreds of miles, evidence of another powerful impact frozen in time. And inside the spacecraft, 4 astronauts pause for a moment, turning the camera toward themselves. Floating together in microgravity, sharing a brief break in the middle of discovery. Returning to the surface, the rings of the Oriental Basin come into view once again. Concentric arcs of mountains, each one marking the shock waves of an ancient collision. And within this vast structure, 2 smaller craters stand out. The crew proposed the name Integrity for one crater, honoring their spacecraft and this historic mission. The second, they proposed to call Carol, in honor of Commander Reed Wiseman's late wife, Carol Taylor Wiseman. It turns the moment into something deeply personal, not just a scientific observation, but a tribute carried all the way to the moon. After the mission, those proposed names are set to be formally submitted to the International Astronomical Union. A closer look reveals the structure within those rings. Layers of terrain shaped by compression, rebound, and collapse. Like ripples frozen in stone, each one recording the force of the original impact. Along the edge of the basin, a sweeping arc rises above the surrounding surface. This annular ring, nicknamed the Kiss, traces the outer boundary of the impact. A formation created in a single moment, yet preserved for billions of years. Along the terminator, the boundary between day and night, shadows stretch across the surface. Here, Vavilov crater sits on the rim of the larger Hertzsprung basin, its features sharpened by low-angle sunlight, revealing the transition from smooth interior terrain to rugged outer edges. As Orion continues its path, the terminator reveals even more detail. Craters like Joule, Birkhoff, and Stebbins emerge from shadow, their ridges and walls accentuated by the grazing light, showing a surface far more complex than it appears under full illumination. And then, one of the moon's oldest regions comes into view. The South Pole Aitken Basin, the largest and most ancient impact structure on the moon. A landscape shaped over billions of years, its heavily cratered terrain offering a glimpse into the earliest history of our solar system.
At 6:42 p.m. Eastern Time, three worlds share a single frame. The Orion spacecraft, partially illuminated by the sun, a waxing crescent moon behind it, and beyond that, a distant crescent Earth beginning to set below the lunar horizon. From this distance, our home appears smaller than the moon itself, a fragile sliver of light suspended in darkness. 36 minutes before Earthset, the contrast becomes even more striking. The moon dominates the frame, its surface marked by ancient lava flows and the vast Oriental Basin. Secondary crater chains stretch across the terrain, evidence of debris thrown outward during a massive impact billions of years ago. And just beyond the lunar limb, Earth remains small, quiet, and distant. As the spacecraft approaches the far side, communication with Earth is about to be lost. A crescent Earth sinks along the lunar limb, while the Ohm crater fills the foreground, its terraced walls and central peaks formed when the surface rebounded after a powerful impact. On Earth, night has already fallen across part of the planet, while daylight still touches Australia and Oceania. Just 3 minutes before losing signal, another view of the same moment unfolds. The lunar surface fills the frame in sharp detail, while Earth continues its descent into darkness. This is the edge of isolation, a point where the crew passes behind the moon, and contact with Earth disappears for nearly 40 minutes. At 6:41 p.m. Eastern Time, Earth finally slips below the horizon. The Oriental Basin sits along the edge of the moon, while the older Hertzsprung Basin, partially hidden, reveals its faint rings. A younger crater, Vavilov, cuts across that ancient structure, layering one event over another in the moon's long history. And then, Earth rises again. Seen through the Orion window at 7:22 p.m., a delicate crescent appears, soft blue, with scattered clouds barely visible. Along the lunar horizon, jagged terrain is silhouetted against that light, a reminder that home is still there, waiting beyond the darkness. During the eclipse, the moon becomes a silhouette. Backlit by the sun, its surface fades into darkness, while distant worlds appear. Saturn glows just beyond the edge, and farther still, Mars shines as a faint point of light. Even Earth contributes, its reflected light softly illuminating the edge of the moon. The alignment holds, stretching time itself. From this vantage point, the moon appears large enough to sustain the eclipse far longer than anything seen from Earth. A perfect balance of distance and perspective. Inside the spacecraft, the crew prepares for the moment. Wearing protective eclipse glasses, the same kind used on Earth, they safely observe the event. For the first time in history, humans watch a solar eclipse from the vicinity of the moon itself. As the sun begins to return, the darkness reveals something unexpected. 6 brief flashes appear across the lunar surface, impact events, meteoroids striking the moon at tremendous speeds. In the silence of space, even these violent moments leave only light behind. And slowly, the edge of the sun emerges. A thin arc of light returns, ending nearly an hour of total darkness. Along the lunar limb, features briefly appear that are rarely visible. A fleeting glimpse of a world revealed by shadow and light.
Back on Earth, the mission continues in real time. Every image, every observation, tracked and monitored from mission control. In the science evaluation room, data is interpreted as it arrives. Small details guiding what to focus on next. Long before the flight, these moments were planned. Now, they are happening for real. And as the observations come in, the reaction is immediate. Years of preparation, meeting the reality of discovery. A shared moment, felt across an entire team. Even across distance, connection remains. Not just data, but understanding. A quiet realization that something meaningful has just been seen. Beyond the moon, the view expands even further. The Milky Way, stretching across space, a vast structure of stars, spanning more than 100,000 light-years. And somewhere within it, a small planet where this journey began. Behind every image is the system that made it possible. Orion's engines, guiding the spacecraft through deep space, controlling every movement with precision. Inside, the crew rests. After hours of observation, the mission continues quietly as Orion carries them home. Outside, the spacecraft moves steadily forward, returning from the far side of the moon back toward Earth. Inside Orion, 4 astronauts share this journey: Commander Reed Wiseman, pilot Victor Glover, mission specialists Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen. Together, they form the crew of Artemis II, the first mission in over 50 years to carry humans around the moon. After days in deep space, what remains is not just the data, but the experience shared between them. A journey that reconnects humanity with a place we once left behind, and marks the beginning of returning once again. And after everything we've seen, the moon, the Earth, and the vastness beyond, it's hard not to feel something. I hope this was at least somewhat inspiring, because for me, seeing something like this happen, it reminds me just how incredible this all is, and how much more there still is to discover. And I truly hope we're going to see a lot more of it. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and join us here on Wormhole to Cosmos. Remember, the universe is vast, mysterious, and full of wonders waiting to be explored. Stay curious, keep looking up, and until next time, keep your eyes on the stars.